I think there is a worrying lack of transparency from the government as to how many asylum seeker sex offenders are in Britain. The Home Office or the Crown Prosecution Service don't keep a record of them. And I can't help but wonder if that's deliberate. It's also been revealed that we do not take DNA samples from illegal immigrants. We only take fingerprints and some facial analysis. Every single illegal immigrant must have their DNA taken upon arrival. That way, we will know immediately if one of them sexually assaults or rapes someone. And if you go on the government website now, you will see this quite shocking page. It says, this information is for anyone who thinks that their immigration case may have been influenced by an inappropriate demand for DNA testing. The provision of DNA evidence in immigration cases should always be voluntary and never mandatory. A helpline has been set up for anyone who thinks that they may have been affected to get advice and support. Are they having a laugh? Seriously? What about the rights of women and girls in the UK to feel safe on their streets? And now we've got Sir Keir Starmer and Yvette Cooper coming out and saying that police should be more transparent about the nationality and asylum status of criminal suspects. I mean, they've got more front than Southend, haven't they? Here's what she said on Radio 4.
I think there should be transparency.
Yeah, what does that mean?
We think more information should be provided, and I've given you an example in the case on the Iranian suspects of where more information has been provided. The issue that we do need to recognise is that there are times in court processes where there are legal issues where the Crown Prosecution Service will currently say that particular pieces of information cannot be provided, where we may well think that they should be.
Yeah, come off it. Neither the Prime Minister or the Home Secretary wanted a national inquiry into the Pakistani rape gangs. They didn't reveal what they knew about Axel Rudy Kobana making ricin in his bedroom and being in possession of an Al-Qaeda terrorist manual. In the wake of last year's summer disorder, they put out wanted posters with a load of white people's faces on them, then published their home addresses when they arrested them. You know what preceded some of that summer disorder? Oh, there was the Hare Hills riots. Do you remember them? So that was in July last year. Have we had a nationwide manhunt for those responsible? No, in fact, it was less than 24 hours ago that West Yorkshire Police put this tweet out. There you go. Gosh, would you have a look at that? There doesn't appear to be a white person in that photograph, maybe one, I think. I think we're more than a year on from those riots now, and I wonder why the police haven't been able to identify who any of those people are. Could it be that some of them are not here legally? Well, maybe we'll never know. So, we've not been DNA testing illegals or keeping a record of how many of them rape and sexually assault women and girls, and police forces have been withholding information about the nationality and asylum status of criminal suspects. Some foreign nationals found guilty of all sorts of different crimes are barely being punished either. Could it be because of stuff like this? I think we've got a thing there. There you go. An Iranian national, Soros Amini, raped a 13-year-old schoolgirl in an alleyway. He was sentenced to just 7 years, of which he'll probably only serve 2/3. Now, the judge is quoted in that article as saying that he did not deem him to be a dangerous offender and concluded that the girl didn't suffer severe psychological harm. Who the heck are these judges? The Home Office won't comment on whether he'll be deported. I think we might know the answer to that. Then there's this. Ammar Jabbar came from Iraq in 2021. He repeatedly stabbed someone. He had to use an Arabic interpreter, naturally, in court. He got away with a suspended sentence after being found guilty of GBH without intent. The judge thought that his rehabilitation would be better served within the community. And no, that's not the community back in Iraq. That's the community right over here. The scale of asylum seeker and migrant crime is unknown. And then when they do get to court, they often get away with a slap on the wrist.
Using the internet without a VPN, a virtual private network, is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. This video's sponsor is Private Internet Access. They are the VPN to help keep you safe. Click the link in the description below to find out why over 30 million people have downloaded PIA to protect themselves online. A virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and helps keep your data private. When you're browsing the internet at home, you give up a large amount of data to businesses, to shops, and indeed to social media giants too. Hackers have the ability to steal your personal data with ease, including sensitive information such as passwords, keystrokes, and even your personal photos. Private internet access helps protect your personal data by encrypting your internet connection to keep your data out of the hands of cyber criminals. And it's not just hackers either to be concerned about. Information can be censored too. When Canada passed their C18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news and content you love. Private internet access is available for Windows users, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one PIA subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices. And we've got a huge GBNews discount for you too. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get a massive 83% off PIA. That's under £2 a month, the price of a coffee, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free on top. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Visit piavpn.com/GBNews to start protecting yourself digitally today.
Let's get thoughts from our panel. Joining us this evening, we have political commentator and broadcaster Esther Krakow. We've also got GB News superstar Alex Armstrong and journalist Jonathan Liss. Alex, I'll start with you on this. So, a couple of stories rolled into one there. The first thing is, it's been revealed that we do not keep a record of how many asylum seekers are committing sexual offences.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised, unfortunately, Patrick, because those numbers, I suspect, will be quite stark. We hear almost daily, it feels like now, article after article, release after release on the media, talking about another migrant found in another hotel who is accused or alleged of committing a sexual offence against a child somewhere or a woman. Now, if they were to release that data, it would show to the public as a whole that this is not a worthy cause any longer, and I think it will just galvanise more and more people to say we need to start deporting them. Simple as that.
Esther, presumably this will be a very easy thing to do, OK? So someone gets, arrested or charged with something or even found guilty of something, and you tick a little box. Are you an asylum seeker? So the fact that they haven't been doing that, to me, implies that they didn't want to.
I think I would probably blame sheer incompetence, because the system is actually bursting at the seams. I mean, I think the fact that they don't even bother to do DNA tests, people would say, oh, it's because they're trying to protect them. No, it's because they cost a lot of money to process DNA tests. And the reason why the public are fixating on sexual offences is because if the main concern was about protecting women and girls, then this whole situation wouldn't be tolerated in the first place. Clearly, they're not concerned about this type of crime, because if they were, they wouldn't be plonking men from God knows where in these communities and then trying to suppress outrage about it online. They would actually just stop it, because they were like, OK, I wouldn't want my child to be living next to an asylum hotel filled with male migrants from parts of the world that are rife with war and don't have very good opinions about women and people of certain minorities, surprisingly. So I don't think it's actually a plan to do this. I think it's just incompetence. I think it's a system that's buckling at the seams, that's underfunded. I just don't think that the state is getting to grips with the severity of the crisis.
Well, they need to start doing it, OK? It's been revealed now that they've not been doing it, and I think the thing now is just start doing it.
I just want them to stop this. I don't care about who they record. Just stop this madness. Stop the billions of pounds a day that a year that we're spending on these hotels. Stop this ridiculous system. Enough.
OK. Jonathan, do you think it's a little bit rich of Sir Keir Starmer and the Home Secretary Yvette Cooper to come out now and call for more transparency when it comes to nationality and asylum status of alleged offenders?
Why would it be a bit rich of them to do that?
Well, because they didn't back the Pakistani rape gang scandal national inquiry. They were withholding information about Axel Rudakabana that was since revealed that would not have contempted the court, and they did that deliberately.
How exactly do you
I think the Southport case, that came from good intentions. As you know, I'm very happy to criticise the government when I think they do wrong things. Right. But can you imagine if it had gone the other way and that maybe there had been an attempt to nullify the trial because it had been compromised in some way? So I can understand that. And look, these things are very, very sensitive. I can see different sides of this argument. I can understand why it may be useful to have more statistics. And I'm not in principle opposed to having DNA testing either, given that you have fingerprints. DNA doesn't seem like such a massive step from that. But I also can see that these can be manipulated for slightly unsavoury ends, in the sense that I think we have to bear in mind there is an epidemic of sexual violence in this country, and it is being perpetrated overwhelmingly by white British people.
But that's
I think that's
demographic.
but that's the thing is that argument
That's
is exactly
demographic.
what supports the argument for releasing the data on nationalities and sexual assaults, because we don't need to import more of these problems. That is the point. If the priority was really to protect not just women and girls, but just people in this country in general, then the argument isn't, oh, white British people or British people commit sexual offences. Yes, we know that, and we don't.
But we should be angry about it.
No, but no one is celebrating in the streets. But at any given time in this country, we don't even have up to 100 free prison spaces. Why are we importing more of these problems and then surprised when they get suspended sentences in the community, which they're not from, by the way?
I think the question we keep coming back to, Esther, is that when there is, and every sexual assault is obviously horrendous, but when there is a sexual assault by obviously an asylum seeker or whatever, but it could also be extrapolated from that.
Because the audacity
I'm not saying it because it's worse. I'm saying that there is a disproportionate, I would argue, a disproportionate response to that. We should be angry about all.
Yeah, we should be
assaults.
disproportionately angry.
But we don't see people.
We should be disproportionately angry that people that are coming to this country to seek asylum, that are getting free healthcare, free housing, free education, when many British people can't get it, the audacity of you to abuse anyone, you should be immediately sent away.
But I'm not saying that all asylum seekers are virtuous people. They're human beings like everyone else. But I'm saying that it doesn't change the fact that people can claim asylum. That doesn't mean that they have a right to get it. They can claim it.
You were going to make a point. Go on.
Yeah, no, I think Esther's absolutely right. I mean, people are angry because they see all these freebies given away. They see many illegal migrants being put up into hotels. They see all this stuff.
Within
days, you're absolutely right. But when we do look at the crime statistics, particularly when it comes to sexual offences, other nationalities are massively disproportionate.
Not
to British.
massively, Alex.
It is 10 times in some cases.
What is the sexual assault of Ukrainians and people from Hong Kong? It's next to zero. It's actually in the negative. People of Bangladeshi heritage are actually underrepresented in sexual crime. So this has nothing to do with race. You do not get to try and claim asylum in this country and have the nerve to prey on underage girls.
Well, obviously, look, Esther, I obviously agree with you.
No,
that's obviously.
But it's not,
but those people.
A race conversation. We don't talk about Bangladeshis.
No, but it means that we can talk about.
But
the point that we keep coming back to is that I don't believe that a culture makes you commit a sexual offence.
Yes, I do.
An individual commits sexual crime.
I disagree because
make you a misogynist and homophobic.
I think Esther's absolutely right because I mean, look at the statistics. They're there. Unfortunately, they're not nice, but they are there, Jonathan.
I want to squeeze in one more point here because we've covered a couple of things here. Firstly, that we have not been collecting data either by the Home Office or the CPS on how many sex offences are committed by asylum seekers. We know we're not taking their DNA when they get here, which is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But the other aspect to it is that when we do catch people, asylum seekers or foreign nationals who've committed offences like this, like, for example, the rape of a 13-year-old schoolgirl, they go to court, they get found guilty, and they get 7 years in prison. Could well be out in 5 years, this guy. It could be out in 5 years' time. And the judge in that case decides that the girl, 13-year-old schoolgirl who was raped in an alleyway, did not suffer significant psychological harm from it, so the guy gets a lesser sentence. Even when we're catching these people, they seem to be getting softer justice than plenty of people who are British.
Yeah, I saw some of the alleged stuff about the police. I know you were reporting on this the other week. Some of the police that allegedly might have been involved in some of the grooming gang scandals. I'm so sick of hearing it. I think people are so angry, Patrick. People want justice. They want fair justice in this country, but they also don't want to be taken for mugs. British people are some of the kindest, most welcoming people in the world. But when you come to this country and you abuse any act of our kindness, you should be shown the door. And I think people have no faith in the justice system. They have very little faith left in the police and many other authorities.
Okay, but why aren't we then talking about the pitiful conviction rates for rape in general and how people, white British people who get sentenced to rape go to jail for less time than Lucy Connolly was given? That's a scandal. I don't see why we are focusing on this.
That's a distraction. That's a distraction.
It's not a distraction at all.
It is a distraction.
It's absolutely central to the problem. The judges don't care about rape victims at all.
There's a certain level of maturity that's needed when we talk about these things, because this whole whataboutism of why aren't you, shouting from the rooftops or celebrating in the streets when British people commit sexual offences is a red herring. It's ridiculous. The reason why we're so outraged by this is because we are concerned by our own homegrown terrorists and by people who are British who are committing these kinds of heinous crimes, and we haven't been on top of it. Where is the sense in importing people that come from backgrounds that are 30 times more likely?
I don't think we're not importing sex offenders.
I'll very briefly say as well, we also, yes, we should be outraged at British people doing these things, but they're our problem. Okay. They're our problem.
Exactly.
People coming here and doing this stuff from a different country should not be our problem.
Okay,
and that's
guys, we're gonna have to go. But look, like I said, a couple of stories in one there, really, which is we're not obtaining this information, we're not taking DNA, and then when we do catch people, it would appear through some very clear and obvious examples that they are not getting the kind of justice that many people feel that they deserve. Do we believe at home that Keir Starmer and Yvette Cooper really mean it when they call for more transparency about these kind of things? Find it quite hard to believe, given that Yvette Cooper's been pictured numerous times with refugees welcome signs. But anyway, a CPS spokeswoman has said the CPS does not maintain a central record of asylum and immigration status. However, this information may be included in a prosecution if it forms part of our case. The shorthand for that is you really need to go looking for it. So there we go.